Hello everybody, this is Yoko's Anime Reactions, and this is going to be my review for Jujutsu Kaisen episodes 2, 3, and 4. We find out that obviously they're wanting to, kill Yuji because he essentially ate a special grade curse, which could, essentially if he can't control it, then obviously this is a big threat and nobody would really be able to take this guy down. Not just with Yuji's superhuman strength and all that, but with this guy's ability to use curses. Because, when this guy was human, before he became a curse himself, nobody could take him down. And that's what they actually said in the episode. Many have tried, but nobody could take him down. And they decide to give him the option of accepting his execution now, or going around and grabbing all 20 of the guy's fingers. What was his name? Ryoma? Whatever. And eating them, and thus, when they do kill him, the guy will be permanently dead. Because if they don't do it, then parts of him would still be out there, and thus he'd still have a chance at coming back. So it's either die now, or die later. Yuji decides to accept dying later, and apparently he's got 20 fingers because he had 4 arms. Okay? 4 arms and 2 faces. Okay. Makes me wonder how he became like that in the first place. Because he was apparently once human. So, what happened? Did something go wrong, or I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they already have one of the fingers on them, so he ate it. Blech. And sorry. He's able to suppress the guy really easily, almost naturally, essentially. And they take him to Jujutsu Academy, where he's going to be a student there. And apparently there's only 3 freshmen there. 3 first years, essentially. And I'm like, really? And now that while I was thinking about it while watching the episodes, it makes perfect sense considering it involves being able to take down curses, and even if there are many people out there who can't even see that stuff, and even the ones that can, I doubt they would want to go into that profession because they could die easily. They could see a bunch of crazy stuff and go insane, for example. And yeah, it's not essentially a profession that I'm guessing people want to go into readily. And the guy from before, what was his name? Fujiyoshi? Something like that. Something along those lines. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, we find out that obviously, last episode, he did say that he goes to that school. So he's one of the first years, and if Yuji can get in, he's the other one, so there's another one we haven't seen yet. And they head there so they can try and get Yuji to be accepted, because he hasn't been accepted yet. And they meet the principal, who's in there sewing up dolls. And he questions Yuji's reason for wanting to join the academy in the first place. And he said, that his grandfather asked him to save as many people as possible. And he didn't like that answer, essentially. Doing all this, putting yourself through hell, essentially, just because somebody told you to, was not a good answer. And Yuji finally realized the reason he's doing this is because if he's going to die, he wants to do it with no regrets. He wants to make sure he takes this guy down with him in the process. And this was apparently enough of an answer to satisfy the principal. Thankfully. And Yuji's room is right next to the other guy's. And they go to pick up the third person, who is a girl. Yeah, the main reason she came to town to be in the school was just to get out of the countryside. And I'm like, that's not going to be a good enough reason for the principal if you have to go through the same thing he did. And yeah, apparently Yuji's from the countryside too. Who knew? Anyway, they end up getting sent on a little field test where they have to take out a curse in an abandoned building. Yuji easily takes out the one that comes after him, and she goes after the one that she finds in a mannequin using, I'm guessing, nails imbued with cursed energy, and she fires them with a hammer. I don't get how that's possible, but whatever. Anyway, takes out the one in the mannequin. She discovers a boy hiding behind the mannequins by a wall, and she tries to get him to come out and go with her so she can get the heck out of there. However, the boy hesitates, and when he does, another curse pops out of the wall, and unlike the others, this one has intelligence because it uses him as a shield and essentially says, if you try and come after me, this boy will die. It doesn't say that, but its actions reflect that. And she ultimately decides, I thought she was going to just kill the boy off to take out the curse, but she ultimately decides to lay down her weapons. Thankfully, before anything else could happen, Yuji punches through the wall behind the curse, cuts off the curse's arm, and gets the boy away. And between her and him, they're able to take the demon out before. Now, I'm saying demon, but it's the only thing that makes me relate to it that I can remember off the top of my head, because it's gonna be weird saying curses all the time. And before the curse can get away, she's able to stop it, thankfully. And they pass that little field test. They end up getting sent to a detention facility where there's a weird curse womb floating in the sky, and they have no idea what it is, and apparently it's supposed to be a special grade one, just like the finger that Yuji ate. What am I saying, Enji? Whatever. Anyway, in the second episode, the narrator was going over them going over to take out the curse womb, and it said, and one of them dies. I'm like, no, don't kill off the kids now. It's only episode 3. I'm hoping it was talking about the curse womb, because if one of them dies, oh. From what I can see on the thumbnails of the episodes in the future, it doesn't look like any of them die. So maybe one of them dies and is brought back. Maybe. Anyway, they head inside, and they are immediately attacked by a weird-looking curse that essentially is just toying with them after separating, what was her name? Nambara, whatever the heck her name is, away from the others. And obviously, she is in over her head, just like those two are, because this thing is not only a special grade, but it's too much for them to handle, even with Yuji's superhuman strength. He tells Fujiyoshi, whatever the heck his name is, to go and find her and get the heck out of there and signal to when they're out so he can let out the other guy. Because if he doesn't, well, they're both going to die anyway. So the guy leaves, finds her, thankfully, before she could get eaten by the curse, and gets her out. And in the process, Yuji ends up losing a hand and part of his fingers on his other hand. And thankfully, when that signal goes off, he lets the guy out. And he's able to make quick work of the curse easily while regrowing the limbs that he lost. And we find out the reason for this is partially due to one of his fingers. And then he tries to get Yuji to switch back because he goes, hey, brat, it's done. You can switch back. Nothing. I'm assuming that Yuji lost consciousness, because he was close to that when he switched, so it would make sense. And I think the guy is going to take full advantage of this. Oh boy. And next episode is going to be part 2 to this. Here's hoping that they survive it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time.